Hey, I'm Dan.
And I'm Chris, and I want you guys to all think about what makes you excited. Dan, is there anything in your life that gets you so excited that you forget about what's going on all around you?
Absolutely. I'm a big sports fan, and I remember watching the World Cup back in 2010. It was in South Africa, and in South Africa they have these instruments called the vuvuzelas.
Oh yeah.
They're these long horns, you blow through them and they make a lot of noise. Well, every fan at this World Cup had a vuvuzela. The crowd was so loud. All you could hear was vuvuzelas. You couldn't hear commentary, you couldn't hear players, you couldn't hear anything but vuvuzelas. They were so excited, and it was awesome to see.
I remember that. They were really loud. It was amazing. And we all get excited in different ways. We're all wired differently. But the one thing we all have in common is we can get excited about God.
Absolutely. And that doesn't mean we have to jump up and down and scream and shout or play through a vuvuzela to express our excitement, but we can be excited about the things God is doing in our lives.
For sure. Let's watch this video, and I think you guys are gonna see what we mean.
Where was Solomon's temple located? On the side of his head. Sometimes people don't get excited about things that are really awesome because they've never experienced it. And I think that that can be true about how people view God. So I really want to emphasize that today's big idea, we can get excited about God, is something that is really true for everyone. We just need to take the time to get to know and experience him, like David. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Today, we're launching into a new series about David as he becomes king of Israel. In the Bible, we are in 2 Samuel. You might remember David from before. He was a shepherd, he had older brothers, and he was confident in God. In fact, he was so confident in God that he even went up against a big mega warrior, Goliath, and he won. The king at that time, Saul, was interested in knowing who this young guy was, so he got to know David. And David was an incredible musician, and so sometimes King Saul would get him to play the harp for him. Now, sometimes King Saul really liked David, but other times he hated him and he wanted him killed. As David grew older, more and more people came to know him as this mighty warrior, and that made King Saul jealous. Also, King Saul's son, Jonathan, was David's best friend, and he was so faithful to David, and that also upset King Saul. Throughout David's life, King Saul tried to kill him a couple times, but David was able to stay away and stay alive. In fact, not only did David stay away and stay alive, but he still honored Saul as king, and that's an amazing way to love your enemy. Well, where we are now in God's story is that David has just found out King Saul and his best friend Jonathan have been killed in battle, and David was so sad about this. He wept. He even wrote a funeral song for Saul and Jonathan. After this, David asked God where he should move, and God told him to move to the town of Hebron, in an area that belonged to the Israelites from the tribe of Judah. So David and his family and all of the loyal people who followed him moved there, and the tribe of Judah named David as king. Now, here's where things get a little tricky for the whole nation of Israel. Because they had gotten so big and covered so much land, the rest of Israel didn't have David as a king. Instead, they had chosen one of Saul's other sons, Ishbosheth. And so the nation of Israel was split with 2 kings. And sadly, these 2 parts of Israel, ruled by different kings, even went to war against each other. As time went on, David and his tribe grew stronger and stronger, and those who warred against them grew weaker and weaker. Eventually, Ishbosheth, the other king, was murdered. And then what happened was that all of the other tribes of Israel came to David and asked him to be their king too. So David became the king of all of Israel when he was 30 years old. David then moved from Hebron to Jerusalem and called Jerusalem the City of David. Once he moved to Jerusalem, or the City of David, he decided to move the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord too. It held the 10 Commandments in it. So David got all of his best troops in Israel, there was 30,000, and led them to the ark to bring it back. David had great joy as he brought the ark back to his city. He was super excited. He was so excited he danced with all his might for the Lord. Don't you wonder what that was like? All of Israel was with him. They were excited too. They shouted and blew trumpets. One of David's wives, at that time it was common to have more than one wife, Michal, who was one of Saul's daughters, saw David from the window. King David was leaping and dancing in front of the Lord, and she didn't like it. She hated David for it. The ark was brought into the tent in the place that David had set up for it. He made sacrifices for the Lord. He blessed the people in the name of the Lord who rules over all. He made sure all of the people had some food, and then they went home. When David came home to bless his family, his wife Michal came out to meet him. She wasn't happy. She said, "You are the king of Israel. You have really brought honor to yourself today, haven't you? You have gone around half naked, right in front of the female slaves of your officials. You acted like a fool." David said to Michal, "I did it to honor the Lord. He chose me instead of your father or anyone else in Saul's family. The Lord appointed me ruler over his people Israel, and I will celebrate to honor the Lord. And that's not all. I will bring even less honor to myself. I will bring even more shame on myself." In other words, David was willing to look foolish in order to show honor to God. He wanted to celebrate God. He knew that it was more than okay to get excited about God. David just wanted to honor and show his love to God. We can also celebrate and get excited about God to show others and God how much we love Him. When we experience God in a cool way, we can get excited about that. When we read something cool in the Bible that God said, we can get excited and let it show. When we hear how God is at work in someone else's life, we can get excited. It may seem strange to other people, like how David seems strange to Michal, but that's okay, because we can get excited about God. That's it for me today, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'll see you next week.
Quickly turn to the person next to you and discuss the following
Questions.
Yes.
Question time!
What book of the Bible is today's God story from? 1 David, 3 Saul, 2 Samuel, or 1 Chronicles? David and King Saul had a love-hate relationship, but David and King Saul's son were best friends. What is his name? Jeffrey, Joshua, Goliath, or Jonathan? When David brought the Ark of the Covenant back to Jerusalem, he did this in front of everyone: sang, danced, fell down, or sneezed.